IVM.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. You're listening to a fresh episode of the Millennial Athlete with Tanvi and Shlok. I'm your host, Tanvi Lad.
And I am Shlok Ramchandran. I am back. Sorry, everyone, I couldn't be there last week. I'll tell you the backstory behind this is that my favorite player, everybody knows, Novak Djokovic, won the French Open, beating a certain co host's favorite athlete slash player. So I was ready to come on the podcast, but Tanvi didn't allow me to even get into the meeting, considering how much I would mock her that Novak Djokovic beat Rafa Nadal on clay. So please, first of all, it was Tanvi's mistake, and I was actually free. So Tanvi, you have any more to say to that?
I mean, now that you've had your share of putting it out there, and our listeners now are in the know of what the truth was, I can try and redeem the situation. We all know that Rafa is a king of comebacks, and I'm just waiting for the day when he's gonna win that 15th RG title. I don't think it's too far away. I think next year same time we will come back to this discussion, and the debate about the goat, so to say, that's on. And I know Djokovic is
Slightly, you're
slightly in
saying
the lead right
slightly.
now, given current performance, but
More than slightly.
I mean, okay, run up to the Wimbledon. Yeah. I mean, come Wimbledon, he's probably going to be very much in the lead, but I'm taking it slow. I think next year is a big year, and Rafa is going to be back.
By next year, this time, Novak Djokovic is going to be the undisputed GOAT. That is what is going to happen. But speaking of GOATs, Rafa Nadal has opted out of Wimbledon. Does that come as a shock to you?
I mean, given the trend that athletes have been following in the past couple months, where they've been quite vocal about the need to preserve mental and physical fitness, and looking at sport in a more holistic perspective rather than as a job, and having to go out there and win every Grand Slam on the tour. I think it didn't really come as a shocker. We've seen a string of them: Naomi Osaka, Dominic Thiem, and Rafa pull out of the Wimbledon, the Olympics, and prioritize the important tournaments that they want to peak at. So I think it's becoming, this pandemic has just made athletes more aware of the fact that sport is a part of life and they're human beings first. So they're taking care of their mental and physical well-being, and I think this is a positive sign going forward.
Did you expect this coming from Osaka? I surely did expect that she wouldn't be taking any part in the Wimbledon. There was a very small fan of me inside telling that no, she will play. But then she decided to opt out of it, and hopefully she'll be back for the US Open. I think we desperately want Naomi Osaka's power play from the backcourt to be back in women's tennis.
Absolutely. But, I think she's taking some good time off. I saw her on the cover page of a Vogue magazine a couple of days ago, which is, I think, so yeah, I mean, let her. It's good to see the other side. It's good to see that she's trying to de-stress mentally and find her mental balance again before she comes back to create waves on the tennis pro circuit.
Yep. But before we move on, and talk about other things going on in sport, we would like to, take a 10-second silence as we lost Milkha Singh last week. Obviously, I don't need to say anything about Milkha Singh. The Flying Sikh is probably one of the biggest sporting superstars India has ever seen. So we at the Millennial Athlete and IVM Podcast would just like to, take 10 seconds of silence and then move on with the episode.
Yeah. So A couple days ago, I mean, we heard the news of Milkha Singh's wife passing away with COVID complications, and it was followed. We were in the know of the fact that Milkha Singh himself was down with COVID too. Unfortunately, India has lost a legend. Really sad day for Indian sport. But having said that, his son Jeev Milkha, pro golfer in his own right, went out there to say that he doesn't remember much from the funeral procession, but one visual that it will probably stick with him going forward is the fact that the Indian Army van stopped right in front of the procession. All the soldiers, saluting his father. That was a very, that brought tears to his eyes, because it just showed the kind of respect that the Indian Army and Indians in general, even the sporting community, the kind of respect they have for his father. So, really sad day for Indian sport. May his soul rest in peace.
Yes. So moving on, let's talk about this young brigade of superstars who emerged in the India versus England women's cricket series. Shefali Verma, obviously, absolutely killing it. But apart from Shefali Verma, there was this girl from Dehradun, 27-year-old Sneha Rana, who practically saved the match for India. 4 wickets in her first innings, match-winning 80 in the second innings in those tough English conditions. We heard Snehal Pradhan. I saw her tweet. She was also on one of our earlier episodes saying that she had the best strike rate in the domestic season, and she was also amongst the wickets. But I know you are your story about Shefali Verma. Did you actually go and watch her bat?
Absolutely. I mean, I was looking forward to watching her bat, because we had heard so much from Snehal on the previous episode. Young brigade, fearless mindset, absolutely power play to the T. So I was looking forward to watching, and like you said, this whole young brigade that our women's cricket team has today. The fact that they've all emerged without much of age group cricket there, in the women's domestic scene, is something that's noteworthy. And to see them, actually go out there and perform fearlessly without any pressure, without any, without having like an IPL or a domestic ground to actually hone their skills, is something I think the BCCI needs to take note of, and really do something about it, because I feel, even from a job security point of view, we've seen all these girls are mostly employed, with the railways, and if there's some amount of security financially that can be brought into women's cricket, I think we really have the talent to to make it one of the leading sports in India.
For sure. I mean, the way Shefali Verma was timing the ball absolutely beautifully. She wasn't overhitting the ball. I almost saw all the overs, and she was just a delight. But apart from that, Deepti Sharma, played 150 balls for her half century. Absolutely brilliant. The surprising part was that Mithali Raj and Harman didn't actually perform in this match, but the rest of the youngsters did absolutely brilliantly to make sure that India actually survived. Tanya Bhatia again came in at number 9 or number 10 as a wicketkeeper batsman, scored 44. I was surprised actually not to see Jemmy in the lineup, but I do think that she might take Mithali's place by the next India-England series, and I do hope to see more Test cricket from women's cricket, because I found it as entertaining as the India versus New Zealand World Test Championship.
Absolutely. But talking about the India versus England World Test Championships,
India versus New Zealand, Tanvi. India versus New Zealand.
Sorry.
England.
India versus.
इससे साबित ये पता चलता है कि तुम्हें क्रिकेट के बारे में कुछ नहीं पता. ऐसा मत करो, please.
अच्छा, हो गया taunt करके. I still fail to understand why this tournament is being held in a place which is known to be truant with weather. As expected, the finals have been more or less a washout, and we're now set up for a draw. But
Nahi,
what do
no,
you
no, no, no,
expect,
no, no,
Mr.
no. We still, like, we are recording on a Tuesday. We still have the reserve day, which is tomorrow. All two results are still possible, Tanvi. We are still 52 for 2. It is heading for a draw, but they should have probably kept it in Dubai where there is no rains.
दुबई में कुछ और सब नहीं हो सकता ना. आईपीएल भी दुबई में, सब कुछ नहीं हो
But
सकता दुबई में.
but it become neutral venue, no? Then if you see, the thing is that if you take it to New Zealand, then New Zealand pitches.
Yeah,
If you get
yeah.
to India, but there was actually one really good tweet saying that whoever tops the table in the ICC team
Should get
championships
to host.
should
Yeah,
get to
yeah,
choose to
yeah,
host the ICC
Yeah.
test final. That would put in so much emphasis on the team finishing first and team finishing second.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if India would have topped, then India would have finished the finals in 3 days, because India would have made like a solid rank turner, which nobody would have played, and we would have won the match in 3 days.
And manipulated the pitches. How can you forget?
Yes, manipulating the pitches, and then the whole media will be right. We are playing on dirtbag pitches. That's that. But some good performances so far. We haven't scored a single half century. None of our Indian batsmen have scored a single half century yet. But Mohammad Shami, good stuff. I hope Edges and Sledges is not listening to us.
Sledging them.
and like in on the next episode they'll start sledging us thing. Like, no, they won't sledge us. They will sledge us. They won't sledge them. They'll sledge us.
They're sledging us
They are
because Mohammad
sledging us.
Shami was like the target in their previous episode.
Yeah, DJ, Mohammad Shami is good. Please, don't card him out yet. He got the breakthroughs. But yeah, Mohammad Shami, Ishant Sharma, surprisingly, Jasprit Bumrah not in the wickets. But talking about New Zealand, Devon Conway continuing his great start to international cricket, half century. Tim Southee again amongst the wickets. It is going to be an interesting day tomorrow because it's the reserve day, one. And two is that if India could bat till say about lunch and like put out a score of like 170, 180 for them to like chase down in the last two sessions, I think it's going to be interesting and fun to watch. But I do think that it's going to end more or less as a draw. I take back my words. Tanvi, you do know a lot about cricket.
Thank you, Shlok, for the approval. But do you think the ICC should find a way of, announcing a winner? There should be some records that can be referred to. I mean, why would you want, a debut World Test Cricket Championship to end in a draw?
Yeah, I agree. I think like, a lot of people are saying that make it a best of three kind of a thing. Because one off doesn't make a lot of sense actually, or you play it at a place where there is no rain. But again, if all three test matches are draw, then what then? In Ranji cricket, what they do is they take the first innings lead. So whoever scores more in the first innings is taken as the winner. Maybe they could do that. But again, please, the Twitter world, don't take my opinion very seriously and don't start trolling me. It is just a very Ranji Trophy opinion which I have taken.
All right. But Shlok, there was one question I wanted to ask you. Your favorite Mr. Shardul Thakur not being in the playing 11?
मोहम्मद सिराज टीम में नहीं है, कहाँ से शार्दुल ठाकुर को लेंगे?
But he was like the king at the Gabba. He helped India win.
That the Washington Sundar was also the king at the Gabba. But now we got a full string team. Mushkil se we got Jaddu and Ashwin in the team. Siraj, who was the highest wicket taker in Australia, is still out. Washington Sundar is out. Akshar Patel. Did you see Akshar Patel in that New Zealand series? He was bowling. He was bowling like Bishan Singh Bedi X5. He didn't get a chance. What Shardul Thakur? Shardul Thakur ke pehle Siraj ke pehle Umesh Yadav. Shardul Thakur went only, must be like good. But मिलेगा शार्दुल लड़के को मिलेगा चांस.
अपना टाइम आएगा.
अपना टाइम आएगा. शार्दुल भाई अगर सुन रहे हो तो कभी आ जाना पॉडकास्ट पे. तारीफ भी की आपकी तो आई लव यू. प्लीज किधर तो आओ, एजेस या स्लेजेस में तो नहीं, तो मिलेनियल एथलीट में आ जाना जरूर.
All right, so that's wrapping up the world. That's wrapping up the World Cricket Test Championship. But moving into the Euros 2021, I think absolute drama right from day one. Shlok, do you want to fill us in?
ब्रेक ले ले पहले. Let's take a small break. थोड़ा सस्पेंस में डालते हैं ऑडियंस को कि मतलब क्या
Okay.
हुआ क्या यूरोज में. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Millennial Athlete with Tanvi and Shlok. We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you are not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week. Thank you so much to Cred, Ciet, and Global Victoria. Without you guys, this would not be possible. So, on the note, Maruk Inayat gives us an overview of the potential Twitter ban in India. On this round is on me. Gauri Devi Dayal was joined by actor-producer Purna Jagannathan to talk about her career in Bollywood, Hollywood, and theatre. She talks about the upcoming season of the show Never Have I Ever. On Cyrus Says, we had legendary musician Usha Uttup. She took us through her journey and shared her experiences as the unconventional musician. In the second installment of the Father's Day special on Akla Station Adulthood, Ayushi has a candid conversation with her father, Siddharth Amin. On the Global Victoria Tech Talks podcast, we showcase some compelling new tech stories coming out of Melbourne. Whether it's from the buzzing gaming industry or the robust edtech sector, Victoria is increasingly becoming a hub of emerging technology. And we talk to some thought leaders and industry legends about the same. Catch all the action from the World Test Championship on the Edges and Sledges podcast. For our Hindi listeners, we have Khel Niti, which goes live on YouTube every morning. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Millennial Athlete with Tanvi and Shlok. We were discussing about all the events which happened in the last week, especially the World Cricket Test Championship and India's women's tour to England. But now we are shifting our attention to the Euros and something not strange. It has happened in the past too. Denmark and Inter Milan midfielder Christian Eriksen had a cardiac arrest when he was playing Finland, when they were playing Finland in their group stage match, and fortunately CPR was given to him, and he was taken to the hospital, and he is actually he's getting back to recovery. He was in the ICU for a bit. The strange part here, Tanvi, is that they had to play. The Denmark players had to come out and play hours later. So my question is, if there is a COVID positive case, then the match gets delayed for 3 days. But if a player, if one of the teammates has cardiac arrest, why can't the game at least be delayed by a day? Isn't that important? I can't think to imagine how tough it would have been for Eriksen's teammates to take the field and play the way they did. They eventually had a draw against Finland, and they beat Russia. And you should have seen the emotions. And I saw the match. Like the whole crowd was behind Denmark just because of Christian Eriksen, and the players were so emotional. What's your take on this?
Shlok, this incident actually takes me back to the Badminton Asia Championships. I think it was 2015. And I remember a teammate of ours, Sikhi Reddy, was actually playing a mixed doubles match and twisted her knee for the second time mid-tie, and had to be taken off on a stretcher. She was screaming in pain, and, all of us had goosebumps. We were just sitting in the stands watching this drama. And minutes later, we had to get on, continue the tie. But it was, the emotions, like you said, within us teammates was so strong. We didn't know, what condition Sikhi was in. She was being taken to the hospital. Did she have to undergo surgery? We had an important tie going on against Malaysia, which would decide whether we would win a medal or not. So many emotions, at that point, it just boils down more to you're playing so much on reflex. You're not really thinking because there is no mind space left to think. You're just, working like a robo and letting your muscle memory actually do the work. So my heart goes out to his Danish teammates, because you have no clue whether your teammate is alive, what condition he's in, and it's a life or death situation in reality. I strongly feel that on humanitarian grounds, the match should have been called off and, at least postponed by a day, just on purely on humanitarian grounds.
Yep. I mean, they did come back to take the field, and sorry, I missed. I said that the result was a draw, but actually Finland beat Denmark 1-0. But I mean, it was just wrong. But again, that sport does that, and the way they've rallied back, and Denmark is through now to the knockout stages. It's just it's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, apart from that, the usual suspects are all through. Italy and Wales are through. Belgium, Denmark are through in Group B. Netherlands and Austria are through in Group C. England is also through in Group D, one of my favorites for this year's Euros. They haven't played the best football yet, but they are still in it. But the two groups which are the tough groups yet to actually finish with their tally is, one is the group of death, which has got France, Germany, Portugal, and Hungary, with Germany and Portugal on 3 points each and France on 4. So that's going to be an interesting final day setup. And Sweden, Slovakia, Spain, and Poland, with Spain being on the third spot. Imagine Spain not going through this.
Yeah.
It is going to be a bummer. So the Euros are going in full flow. Also, fans are back.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to 60,000 fans on semi-final and final day. I mean, what more can we ask for as fans?
Especially in a football scenario, because it just lifts a team, especially if a team is down or if a team is up. We all talk about the fans being like a 12th man in games like this. So I think it's a big boost for the players that the fans are back. Apart from that, I don't know if you've seen the Euros so far, but any particular player you've heard about, who's caught your eye at the Euros?
Mr. Ronaldo is the only player who catches my eye when I watch football.
Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't believe in Spanish league, Italian league, Euros. He just wants to score goals. I mean, what a guy! Every time he's on pitch, like कुछ तो तोड़ते हैं, या तो लोगों के हौसले तोड़ते हैं, या तो गोल के रिकॉर्ड तोड़ते हैं, कुछ तो तोड़ते हैं. But my pick is Bukayo Saka, who gave an assist for England on his debut match in the Euros, and also another Chelsea guy who unfortunately tested positive and is out for the tournament. Billy Gilmer, young teenager from Chelsea, came and absolutely bossed the midfield against his fellow teammates Mason Mount and Reece James, where Scotland drawing England. So there's a lot of young players doing extremely well in the Euros.
Yes, but one point there that I wanted to, actually bring up is that with regards to UEFA's decision, not to, light up the Munich Stadium with rainbow colors, in support of Pride Month and as a sign of solidarity with the LGBTQ community. Hungary's recently passed a resolution against the LGBTQ community, and, there was, UEFA could have come out in support because Hungary was playing against, which was it? I think it was Germany and Hungary match. Yeah, the Germany versus Hungary match. So what do you have to say? I mean, it's Pride Month, and I thought it's important that we bring it up.
I mean, I strongly think that UEFA should have stood by the community and at least light up their stadium in pride colors. I don't actually know the reason why they haven't. UEFA is a tough body to work with also, and it's made of administrators who've been around for a very long time. But yeah, I mean, I would say that it is wrong of them to stopping them to light up colors with Pride Month.
Yeah, I mean, they issued a statement saying that the UEFA is an apolitical body, and showing solidarity with any particular community is not something that they would want to do. Quite surprising, I would say, considering that being inclusive is something that most internationally recognized organizations vouch for. So pretty surprising there. But on another note, I think I wanted to bring up the fact that a lot of pro players, elite players across sports have actually been coming out in the recent past. During the Rolland Garros, where we had Martina Navratilova, actually speak at length. She was, at the prize distribution ceremony, and she did make her point about, the fact that she did face a lot of flack during her playing career. Had to be hush hush about, her choices, and now things are a lot different. Commentators would very often be hush about the fact that she had a girlfriend in the stands actually there to support her. But now things are changing, and mentally athletes have to deal with a lot less, which is a positive sign.
Yep, Washington Spirit forward and Japanese soccer player Kumi Yokoyama also came out as a transgender just today. So people are, taking, a leap of faith and coming out in the open, hoping that everybody will come out in support of them. We've also had players coming out in badminton. We've had Christina Pedersen and Camilla Reiter also coming out long time back, and they've been happily married and have a wonderfully beautiful child who's come for all Premier Badminton League matches, and she's an absolute delight to have. I have a couple of videos with her too. And Tanvi's
I think I have a highlight on my Instagram account. Molly Spam. It's called Molly Spam.
Yeah. So I mean, I, the number of Indian players who've come out aren't a lot. But to name a few, Tanvi, do you have athletes who've come out in the open and said that they are in the LGBT community?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember when the Supreme Court passed the 2018 judgment, against criminalizing homosexuality. Duti Chand was one of the first Indian athletes to actually come out and reveal that she's in a similar sex relationship, and she is, she's going on to be one of the ambassadors for the Pride squad at the 2022 Birmingham Commonwealth Games. So I think that was she's faced a lot of controversy regarding her sex and her gender, and with regards to her sport, was even banned for a couple months. But for her to actually come out was, I think, a very, very bold step. I mean, I think more than anything, it gives a sense of support and mental strength to the younger lot. It's something that as a culture we're not probably very open to yet in a country like India, but I think the fact that a stalwart like Duti Chand can actually come out and publicly make a public statement is just going to go out, send a positive signal to the younger lot that we are an inclusive nation, and that shouldn't be a cause for any mental stress as far as an athlete is concerned.
Absolutely, you got that spot on. And as coaches, is also very important, to accept the fact of athletes having same-sex relationships and not corner them. I feel the new age coaches should be flexible about it, and gone are those days where you could actually pass comments and make somebody feel extremely ashamed of their sexuality. So yeah, I think it's time that we as a country also start to move on. But
no, I mean, I just wanted to mention, I mean, Christina Pedersen, I happen to be in the same PBL team the previous season, and she actually went on record to say that she and Camilla went through an entire phase. They played women's doubles when they started playing women's doubles together, and they realized that they were moving towards getting into a relationship. They tried to hide it from their teammates for the longest time. They tried to hide it from their teammates, their coaches, and they were playing together, they were traveling together, and it was there for coaches and their teammates to see all the time. But they did try to hide it initially, despite Denmark and Europe being a lot more progressive. They did face a lot of mental torture, mental issues, more or less within themselves, with trying to accept the fact that they needed to come to terms with the fact that they were attracted to each other before they actually came out. And she said that, as teammates, I think the Danish team was really supportive. Once they came out, the kind of support that they received from their coach and their teammates was incredible. So I think a positive lesson there.
Absolutely. Also, Tanvi, finally, the Olympics is around the corner. After a year, I am so excited. I can't wait for the Olympics to start. I am just waiting for this sporting event for way too long now. It's just right there now.
Hashtag 2020 is finally, it became hashtag 2021 and it's finally happening. So fingers crossed that it actually goes through.
It will go through. Be positive, Tanvi. After a year of being a co-host to me, have you not realized the power of positivity?
Oh my God, absolutely. And if there's one nation that can actually pull this off, it's Japan. I am a big fan of the country and its people. And I think there will be robos lined up, Panasonic robos at the airport itself.
Taking COVID tests.
Yeah.
Taking COVID tests. That would be a sight. But we at the Millennial Athlete will be covering every aspect of the Olympics. We will also be trying and do dual episodes a week so that we give you all the updates. So we are going to have a special Olympic edition for the Tokyo Olympics very soon because there's so many Indian athletes in the fray. Fingers crossed. My favorites are, I'm going with badminton. So Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Ranki Reddy look like they've been training. I've been seeing a lot of their Insta stories of recovering and doing well. So fingers crossed. We will give you all the updates of, on the IVM Podcast Network. So do tune in if you need any recap of any event because we are here to give you everything about the Olympics.
Absolutely. Pictures of the Olympic Village, pictures of the medal ceremony, the podium that the medal ceremony will be conducted on. Pictures are streaming in from Tokyo, and the excitement is building. A bit of a bummer in the sport of badminton, though, with the queen of world badminton, Carolina Marin, who will not be defending her title. She's pulled out with an ACL tear. Very, very shocking because she was in scintillating form and was looking in perfect in the run-up to the Olympics, was looking like she's going to mow down all her opposition. But such is life, such is sport. She's no longer going to be playing the Olympics. So hopefully we see PV Sindhu step up and use this opportunity to change the color of her medal.
Yes, but it's not going to be easy. Nozomi Okuhara in the fray, Yamaguchi Akane in the fray, Ratchanok Intanon, Tai Zuying. It's a busy field. As you say, if you want to win an Olympic gold medal, you need to have the perfect week. So fingers crossed, hoping that even Sai Praneeth, I've actually been looking at Sai Praneeth videos and he's actually looking fit. And a fit Sai Praneeth could also, go under the radar, and just like the World Championships, could possibly get a medal for the country as well. Because on his day, he is a treat to watch.
Absolutely, we've all seen what Sai is capable of doing, and if by going by what you're saying, if he's in good shape, then the world is his oyster.
Wow, क्या बात है, world is his oyster. क्या बात है. एक हफ्ता क्या मैंने मिस कर दिया, तुम मतलब ऐसे शब्द यूज करने लग गए कि हम क्या ही बताएं. चलो ठीक है, ये भी सह लेंगे. Chalo, since you've done the end slate last week, it's normally my job, but go for it. Take the glory.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. If you like this podcast, please do check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can follow us on the IVM Podcast app or on ivmpodcast.com. If you have any questions and want to write to Shlok or me, you can write to us on TanviLad93 on Instagram and Twitter. And Shlok, where can we find you?
You can find me at @SHLOKH95 on Instagram and Twitter. नया रील वील भी डाला है तो थोड़ा लाइक वाइक करो, थोड़ा शेयर वेयर करो, थोड़ा IVM ने बोला है कि be a little more social media savvy, so I'm doing that, guys. Come on, support me.
Absolutely. Shlok has been training so well that I hope our listeners are inspired. On that note, guys, it's a wrap. We will see you next week with another fresh episode, and stay tuned because we have a lot of sporting drama lined up for you guys in the coming month. Thank you, everyone.
Ciao.
Feeling overwhelmed, anxious, struggling with too many obstacles, don't know where your life is headed? Well, if you are dealing with one or all of these, tune into the Positively Unlimited podcast, because in each episode, I share a life lesson, a life hack, a pro tip that can help you get your life back on track. All episodes are available on the IVM website, IVM Podcast app, or wherever it is that you get your podcast from.
पेशे खिदमत है आपकी शान में हमारे अंजुमन से. Hi, I am Sadaf.
And I'm Arshit. खाने का इतिहास, economics, policy, psychology, सब है मेन्यू पे.
Only on the Nankali podcast every Wednesday, सिर्फ IVM Podcast app या वेबसाइट पर, या फिर जहां से भी आप अपने पॉडकास्ट सुनते हो.